It's time to own the fantasy zone in Space Harrier, the 1985 Sega arcade classic. Available in Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. As unlockable content, this is not the Genesis version, this is the arcade version. How they managed to fit the entire fantasy zone into one disc is beyond me, because it used to take a giant arcade cabinet or fancy sit-down arcade machine. There were a bunch of different Space Harriers, and a number of sequels, as well as additional ports on other game consoles, like the Master System. These days, short of owning the actual arcade machine, this collection is the way to go for your Space Harrier fix, because it looks and sounds fantastic in high definition. It plays really well, it's very affordable, and it comes with an enormous stack of Sega Genesis games that you also want. It's difficult to actually survive without Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. It's a necessity like food and oxygen. So what you do in this game is fly through stages in your fancy pants, and encounter and obliterate end bosses. You're scoring points while traveling through the fantasy zone, as well as destroying enemies. And Space Harrier is from mastermind game developer Yu Suzuki, who also created such classics as Afterburner and Outrun for Sega. This game is actually very similar to Afterburner, but it's flashier and he's more maneuverable, so it feels more playable. And to properly enjoy the game sequences like this, I think you really want to play the arcade version or this version. Because as much as I love the Master System and the Sega Genesis, neither of them could pull off the obstacles as smoothly as the original hardware, or certainly the PS3 and 360 versions. Space Harrier has that something special that makes it explode off the screen with timeless visuals, beautiful art design, music, and clever, addictive gameplay that never gets old. Space Harrier is a true classic, and one of the best Sega arcade games in existence. I don't specifically remember this game from 1985 or the mid-80s in the arcades, but I can only imagine it was mind-blowing back then. And who keeps leaving these obstacles in my flight path? What's the reason for that being there? What does it do?
You're doing great!
Synthesized voice dialogue. I wish he would shout Atreyu when he starts riding this thing. I use a lot of the same flight tactics in this game that I use in Super Thunderblade or Afterburner. Moving about the screen in a circular motion seems to work fairly well until you start running into things in the later levels. Who doesn't love the enemies and colorful level design in this game? In an era where everything is desaturated and angry, Space Harrier explodes with color and happy. Playing this game will make you happy. It's an arcade game. You're going for a high score while wearing some of the most stylish pants in existence. Where does he buy those? And when you shoot those Cyclops woolly mammoth things, they explode into flames. Come on, it's great! In this version of the game, you can adjust the difficulty. You can increase the number of lives to 5, which I've done for the review footage here. We've been watching the PlayStation 3 version, but the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection is also available for Xbox 360. And there's many other versions of Space Harrier and sequels on many, many game consoles, like the Genesis, Saturn, Master System, and more. So keep watching for reviews of the Saturn version and Master System version, and make sure to find some time in your day to play Space Harrier. You won't regret it.
Woo! Get ready.